What's up, visitors? So, how did I get to this point? Well, to start, my theory is on the upper class.
I'm bored. The question is, do I want to go on a madman rampage? Ha, who am I kidding?
Yeah, imagine getting bullied by a bunch of stickmen. They're like barely a foot tall, too. Convenient how this reminds me of a certain movie.
No, wait!
The Mitchells vs. the Machines sounds like a killer WWE match. Mitchells vs. the Machines is a 2021 Netflix animated film by Sony Pictures Animation. You know, these guys. Sony Pictures Animation is that one coworker you left your gerbil at their house, and next thing you know, they've been arrested for trying to trade a live baby for some Jimmy Johns. This film kinda had a lot on its shoulders, being their first film after Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and Angry Birds movie too. People undoubtedly would expect a lot. Into the Spider-Verse was a phenomenal film, and having this film produced by the same people who made that movie meant lots of promise. This film was originally meant to release in late 2020, and actually you can still see lots of visual references to the date being in late 2020, but then the dysentery outbreak made them delay it, and it was given a Netflix release in spring 2021. And it was given the title of The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Much better than... This is the most wrong but right title for a film I have ever seen. The name for Mitchells vs. the Machines fits this film's tone perfectly, and I find it funny that they went ahead and renamed it to that, then changed it back to this just a few months later. Overall, Mitchells vs. the Machines happened. It did sort of come and go, but I'd say its streaming launch was responsible for that. But that doesn't deter away from the experience of the movie. Some people were disappointed with it. I think that has something to do with it being the next Sony Pictures animated film after Spider-Verse and, you know, Angry Birds movie too. People really were expecting an absolute masterpiece. And specifically after a film like Spider-Verse, you'd have to have something really good to follow it up. And no, I'm not saying it again. This film honestly isn't another Spider-Verse. It is a Mitchells vs. the Machines, which is perfectly fine on its own. The film is really good and well put together. It does have a unique art style, which honestly is really great. It does try to pull a visual add-on to it like Spider-Verse had to give it more energy. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but it is a great step to do after Spider-Verse. There are some certain points I'd want to mention because it is way too early to end this episode. Post-apocalyptic family road trip. Just writing that made me think I was talking about Mad Max Fury Road. I don't know, never seen it. The film's whole plot focuses around a family road trip during the start of a robotic apocalypse. The protagonist of this film is Katie Mitchell, a fresh high school graduate about to leave for college. She's a big film buff, a lot like me. She has an impressive collection of films, specifically the Dog Cop series, though of course, the Beans movie, by yours truly, tops them all. Her family is on a road trip and touring the wide wonders of America, my favorite fictional continent. It is fun going around and seeing the wonders of the world with a good montage of the various different places they experienced.
And trying to cook your brother over a fire!
I'm not edible, you fool.
Shut up! Most family films are about the togetherness of family, or how, you know, not all families are blood. But this film does something a bit more interesting with that. It sort of takes a step away with that still general idea of family, because a big thing with kids' films, well, or a reason that really makes it a kids' film isn't what type of content it is, the thematic tone of it. And mostly, what is considered a kids' film has a family theme to it. That is the most common thing. You know, when an R-rated movie does a family theme, it just doesn't feel right. This film's theme still follows a general tone, but is way more specific and kind of is about saying goodbyes and truly coming to appreciate family. It feels more real. A really neat add-on, which really did help sell this theme, was how each of the different family members sort of have their own identity and, like, personality in ways. It feels more different. You can tell there's a difference between these characters, and I really do like that. Like how the son, Aaron, is an absolute dinosaur freak, and Rick is a wildlife guy, and the mom's, you know, just a mom. That's a really good personality trait to have. Their family bickering really can steal a moment, and those moments are some of the most enjoyable ones in the movie. I've always loved films where they have a family dynamic and you see that family bickering. Family bickering is because we are all so different, but love and respect each other enough to where those differences cannot hinder our relationships. And that is truly the strength of a family. That is the problem which fuels this dynamic. Families aren't just made on the spot. Forming a family takes effort. We aren't all compatible. Sometimes it is difficult, heck, impossible, especially when troubles arise. If there's one thing I'd say this movie is about, it is about the struggle of a family relationship. What such event could make a family relationship difficult? The stress from a robot apocalypse. Rick and Katie Mitchell, father and daughter. Rick Mitchell, a wilderness explorer, big fan of the outside, but he's now mostly retired and is now a father. Katie Mitchell, a teenager who just graduated, loves movie making, and is quite the nerd. Just got accepted to a movie making college in California and was dying to leave. Their relationship is the spotlight conflict in this movie. Her and her dad struggled to understand each other. Like most teenagers, she became rebellious and any sort of connection between her and Rick died. As a parent, you love your kid, you watch them grow up, you try to be there for them. But the cost of growing up is you become your own person. Sometimes we do that a little too much and we become separated from our family. We lose that connection. It is a part of growing up, but deep down, it is a good thing. When we are young, we get to experience the love of a family. As a teen, we learn the value of it by naturally, losing it. So by the time we become adults, we know the importance and value of a family. So we get to experience the creation of a new one, our family, where this cycle continues. Katie is on the border of two of those stages of life. She is about to become an adult and she doesn't understand the value of family. She is running from it, dying to leave her family, thinking that her family was other people. Even though that is correct, our future family will be people we will someday meet. Part of our future family is the one we started with. Katie needs to learn that her people aren't just her friends, it's her family. Katie had spent almost her entire life making movies, stuff which her dad never understood. He never really showed his support for her, even though deep down he did care and he did support her. He loves her, but he struggles with communicating it. Right before she's supposed to leave, he messes up and it leaves them both off on the wrong foot. Now she is desperate to leave. Their relationship was on the edge of completely breaking down. Perfect time for a family road trip and the end of the world. Wow, those stakes went high real quick. For a film about the war on technology, it surprisingly isn't about technology bad. It delivers a quality family thing, and it does fit technology into it pretty well. I mean, it is kind of weird that it was kind of included in something which I'll explain later, and I do kind of find it funny how they would occasionally sort of poke fun at it in weird ways, and it sort of made it feel a bit weird. But it also gave us the ability to include these robots. I cannot describe how sleek and sexy these designs are. Surprisingly, the technological villain fits into this theme perfectly. There is still that family theme. PAL is an artificial intelligence, a part of the PAL family. Mark Bowman, CEO of PAL Labs, Elon Musk, man kind of responsible for this whole post-apocalyptic thing, but he sets up that sort of family theme in a way. He's an inventor and has a family of products, helmed by his PAL AI assistant. Thing is, he now has a new family which is way better and does everything he wants it to. No need for his old family, he now had his new, better one. Thing is, by throwing out PAL, it feels forgotten, unneeded, unnecessary, unloved. So it retaliates and will destroy all humans by sending them off this planet in giant spaceships. Yeah, that's what I call overkill. Now all humans must pay for the actions of those who disrespect it, because technology isn't a replacement for our families, it should help bring us closer together. What happened to PAL is what happens with tons of families. They get torn apart. We fail to realize the importance of keeping a family. A super close parallel, Mark and Pal, Rick and Katie, an unsuccessful family relationship, and one that is about to fail.
We interrupt this broadcast to try and be funny. Da 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 da.
No, we interrupt this broadcast to try and be funny. There, that is better.
The joke already died. The Mitchells versus the Machines, yeah, it had alright comedy. Generally, I don't like to talk about the comedy of a film or show unless it is either an absolute masterpiece or really, really bad. In my opinion, this film is funny every now and then. It's pretty fun, but it could not stop itself from having its comedy ruin some moments. Comedy is meant to entertain when stuff seems slow, but not replace moments where the story and everything else should carry it well enough. You do not, I repeat, do not place a joke during the whole motivational thematic speech. Where it's all supposed to come together, it removes any essence to it and lessens the impact. It would be like, alright guys, this trip has been a lot of fun. It has brought us all closer together as a family, and I feel a greater attachment to all of you. Yeah, I could do with a little pile of Z's. It just isn't right. I really hate when that happens. It really can ruin a moment, and that one scene where the whole thing was supposed to come together, they topped it off with a lame joke. Like, not even Big Bang Theory went to that level. Big Bang Theory. Like, I'm not the type of guy to say there's a right way to do comedy, but there for sure are some ways to ruin it. And another way that I really think this film kind of ruined it was, this film will not age well at all. I always find it funny seeing movies reference memes or kind of trendy things. Even though this movie doesn't exactly do it the way you'd think, it is still really annoying. People in 10, 20 years might not understand half of these jokes. I mean, some of these ones already feel super old. The side plot with the perfect family from Instagram, holy cheesecake, that was not right. But that is fine because sometimes these jokes are just so real. There's some really bad ones, but there's some amazing. I know I have kind of gone on just to say I like parts of its comedy, but hey, it really does have a personality, and I do love so many parts of this movie.
Hey, look, I made a collection of all the photos nobody saw me take.
Wow, how original.
Wow, Willie, look at that. We're home.
Finally, non-movable walls, ceiling, and
Ugh. I swear I was closer to the car. The heart and soul of this movie is about understanding and families. Throughout the movie, we see how Rick and Katie absolutely struggle with having a healthy family relationship. Aaron and Linda are literally sidekicks and have to hold some of them at a figurative gunpoint to get them to do anything, sort of forcing it at times. Despite it being forced into submission, it really doesn't work out. Rick wants to work with it, Katie doesn't. At the start, she literally lies just for things to work. Even though, of course, she comes to realize the magic of the family, you know, by destroying a giant Furby or whatever, it is a loose goose on her, and it is used against her. But there is this one scene where the whole story becomes truly real. Throughout the film, we've seen Katie make a film of the adventures of their road trip. She uses the family camera to make these different montages on stuff that happens, which are pretty entertaining. Family cameras are like prehistoric documents of life. Cave paintings, you might accidentally graffiti the word spaghetti over them. You know, the last remaining documents about an ancient civilization. Katie was spaghettiing the records of her young life. Her family was moving out of the log cabin her dad made when he first got married. They couldn't live in it anymore. They'd have to move. His pride and joy, this was what he loved to do. Saying goodbye to it would kill him on the inside. But he had to do it for the sake of Katie, his newborn daughter. She'd need a better place to grow up. It was a sacrifice, one which he was willing to make. He took a souvenir with him, a carving of an elk, a gift he gave to Katie, and she'd had throughout her entire life. Being a parent is tough. It for sure isn't easy. Ask any parent. It takes a sacrifice. In order to dedicate time to their children, they'd have to sacrifice something. Here, we see Rick sacrifice his dream life in the woods so he could raise his family. That is a real moment. It is where that theme finally comes into play, where we see it from the full perspective. Katie is the protagonist for a reason, not only because this is her journey, but she is the relatable character for the teenage audience to understand this. Our parents made a sacrifice for us to live our lives, to do their part for this family. So now it is our turn to do our part in this family relationship.
Hi. Yeah, up here.
it's you. 1 foot. Next, look, it's someone shorter than you.
Oh, hardy har har.
Okay, you can just stop. I have the power of family on my side. Now, of course, in true third act fashion, now knowing the true purpose of family, she can now kick butt. Her and Aaron team up, have this ultimate plan, save the family, save the world, etc., etc. The film is practically over. Yeah, it's over. The Mitchells vs. the Machines is far from a perfect movie. I feel like there could be more to it. But there is so much style and personality to it. I highly recommend watching it, not to mention it has one of the most real themes ever. It emphasizes some more realistic messages and is a fun film. The robots are absolutely amazing, and they were really fun. I am quite surprised that I haven't mentioned Deborah Bot and Eric Bot. They are such fun characters, and they are really amazing parts of the movie. S-tier robot characters. And the fact that the pug was played by an actual celebrity pug, we can gripe on about how celebrities who, can't act get big roles in movies. Bro, Doug the Pug debunks that whole claim. Overall, it is a really fun movie, with some fun moments, a fun theme, and some great characters. I highly recommend watching it, even though I just spoiled all of it, so I presume you've already seen it. I hope you actually watched it, so I didn't, ruin it for you.
Well, that was a rough cut.
Sir, your stocks have dropped down 1%.
Oh no! Not my precious stocks. Got to save my money. I'll be back.
So I guess this means you're good to go. How often does he do this? Third time this week. Oh, what an oddball. Well, gotta beat feet. Waiting for the next day, he might randomly attack some other person.
Don't have a cow, but I think we need to move now.